Yo, what is up, guys? It is Freddie Knows Ball back here with a brand new video. Today we've got central ideas and details. Are you guys ready for this? It is going to be probably one of the more boring videos, but we can make it exciting, guys. Trust me, there's some ball knowledge in here. Trust me, it's going to be interesting. We're going to dissect these passages and we're going to crush the SAT. So grab your apple juice. I just happen to have this on my desk. I'm about to start sipping it. And let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this video, shall we? So, Central Ideas and Details has two main components. The first one is direct evidence. So inside of direct evidence, it's basically going to ask you something about the passage, and you basically just have to retrieve the data from the passage. It's pretty straightforward. And then main idea, which is basically going to be what's the summary of the passage. So let's start off with direct evidence, okay? When you're looking at direct evidence, the context really matters. You want to be understanding the details of the passage, and you definitely want to build your own solution or boss. I say this in a lot of my writing videos, particularly reading, because it can genuinely be applicable for pretty much every reading strategy. I mean, you can't emphasize that enough. Making up your own solution will drastically improve your score if you get good at it. And I feel like that has so much evidence behind it. It worked for me, and I really hope it works for you guys too. So let's get right into the first practice question. Paleontologist Allen and colleagues studied fossil bones found in New Zealand that are more than 55 million years old. The researchers determined that the fossil bones belonged to two previously unknown species of prehistoric penguins. Moreover, they estimated that one of the two penguin species was more than 3 times the size of the emperor penguin, which is the largest penguin species that exists today. Based on text, which choice best describes the two previously unknown penguin species? So the question's asking us which choice best describes the two previously unknown penguin species. So we know that it says they're extremely old. They're more than 55 million years old, the fossil bones. And we know that one of the penguin species was extremely large because it was more than 3 times the size of the largest penguin species that exists today, the emperor penguin. So with that in mind, let's look at the answer choices. They are frequently studied by paleontologists. There's no evidence to back that up. There's one paleontologist mentioned here, and it says nothing about frequently studying. They are no longer living species. Well, it does say the paleontologist and colleagues, but it still says nothing about frequently. B says they are no longer living species. That's very true. That's pretty direct, I would say. Studied fossil bones found that are more than 55 million years old. If the fossil bones are 55 million years old, and the penguins are prehistoric and previously unknown, that is a great way to infer that they are no longer living. Yeah, I like that answer choice. Let's double check with the rest though. They were smaller than the penguin species that exist today. We have no evidence to support that. We actually do have evidence that one of the species was extremely large, but definitely nothing about either of them being smaller. They spent little of their lives in water. That's just not mentioned at all in the text, so that can't be it. Next question. Paleontologists again. Paleontologists searching for signs of ancient life have found many fossilized specimens of prehistoric human ancestors, including several from the era discovered in a geological formation in the Kori in Japan. However, to study the emergence of the earliest multicellular organisms to appear on Earth, researchers must turn elsewhere, such as to the geological formation at Mistaken Point in Canada. A World Heritage Site, the 146-hectare reserve contains more than 10,000 fossils that together document a critical moment in evolutionary history. So, the direct evidence question is, what does the text indicate about the geological formation at Mistaken Point? So let's go to that part. Geological formation at Mistaken Point is where researchers must turn to study the emergence of the earliest multicellular organisms. It also talks about the fact that it's 146 hectares, which I think that's just a unit, and that it contains more than 10,000 fossils. So let's see which choice best talks about those things. It holds a greater number of fossils, but from a smaller variety than the formation in the Minatogawa quarry. So we don't know how many fossils are in that quarry, so we can't choose A confidently. It has provided evidence that the earliest human species may have emerged before the P era. We don't really talk about that being the main indication from the text. So I don't really like that answer choice. We can probably keep it if nothing else is working, but from what I can tell, that's not right. It is widely considered by paleontologists to be the most valuable source of information about prehistoric life forms. There's no place in the text where it says that it is considered to be the most valuable source of information. That's just not supported, so we can't choose C. Hopefully D is a nice answer choice. It contains specimens from an older time period than those found in the formation in the Minetagawa Quarry. So check it out. This is supported by the text, believe it or not. It says that, oh yeah, you can check out this geological formation in the Minetagawa Quarry in Japan. However, to study the earliest multicellular organisms to appear on Earth, you got to go to the mistaken point in Canada. That means that that's where the earliest organisms were, meaning that it's got to be an older time period. It's got to be way, not way older, but it's got to be older than the Minetagawa Quarry, right? And so that's why D's the correct answer there, because earliest multicellular organisms can be tied to older time period. And so we only have 2 questions on direct evidence because these are some more tedious topics. So we're getting straight into main idea now. And build your own solution works for this too. I just have to mention that. And also for main idea, you want to just have a great understanding of the passage. A lot of main idea questions, especially on the first module, are just going to be basically reading comprehension. So if you can comprehend well, definitely use that to your advantage. Definitely make sure you're getting the main idea questions right and practice them a lot. If not, I would definitely recommend
ball knowledge.
Trying to just read. Try to read more in your free time. Outside of the SAT, when you're not doing practice questions, maybe if you're taking a break or you're on vacation, take a book along with you and don't just leave it unopened the entire trip. Open it, try to get your brain to understand, to comprehend everything that you're reading. And in my opinion, that works wonders for the reading and writing section as a whole. It'll increase your mental stamina for reading and writing and your comprehension, which is just going to give you a better chance at getting the right answers. So for main idea, you also want to make sure that there's evidence to support your answer. But besides that, let's get right into the questions. In present-day Mexico, archaeologist Robert, remote sensing specialist Ricardo, and colleagues have located 41 smaller settlements surrounding the ancient Mesoamerican city of Izapa. The researchers have concluded that these settlements were culturally linked to Izapa because each of the settlements is the same age and configured in the same manner as Izapa, with a pyramid to the north and a plaza to the south. Their shared structural orientation suggests that residents of the settlements likely performed some of the same cultural ceremonies as residents in Izapa did. Main idea of the text, we're comparing these 41 smaller settlements and saying how closely related they are to the city of Izapa. That's my solution right there. That's my boss. A says, researchers have determined that the arrangement of the structures were based on those of other settlements. No, that's not what we're saying. Cultural ceremonies in Izapa seem to have played a more important role for its residents than those in smaller surrounding settlements did. No, we're not really talking about the cultural ceremonies as the main idea. Although archaeologists have learned much about Izapa over years of research, they have only recently found the smaller settlements that surrounded it. That's definitely not the main idea because it says that they located these settlements and that's all it says about the finding them. So that's definitely not the main idea. It has to talk more about the relationship between those settlements and Izapa itself. D says, researchers have inferred that Izapa was related to the smaller settlements that surrounded it, based in part on the similarity of their construction. I think that's perfect because it talks about how they're similar to the settlements, it compares Izapa to the settlements, and it talks about how construction is what makes them similar. The final question of today, guys, it's about NASA's mission. So let's go ahead and read it. Don't forget to take a sip before we get into the question. NASA's Aspera mission, led by Carlos, will investigate the CGM, the huge swaths of low-density gas that fill and surround galaxies. Specifically, the team will focus on portions of the gas that exist in a warm-hot phase. These portions haven't previously been observable, but are thought to fuel new star formation and hold most of the mass that makes up a galaxy. Using a telescope capable of revealing these parts of the CGM, the Aspera mission should help answer long-standing questions about how galaxies emerge, change, and even interact. So main idea here, I'm saying this mission they're doing is low-key about to drop some crazy new information, and it's about to be some stuff that we've been waiting for a minute. And it's about this warm-hot phase where it's like the gas that fills and surrounds galaxies. It's gonna be the ones that exist in that warm hot phase where it's like you can kind of see where it's like we're waiting for what the discovery is about to say. So let's look at the answer choices. As the leader of NASA's mission, Vargas will be the first person to investigate the makeup of the CGM. That might be true, but it's not the main idea. The passage isn't revolving around Carlos being the first person to investigate the makeup of the CGM. B says, although galaxies that are surrounded by the CGM have been studied, researchers have been unable to directly observe low-density gas in the CGM in the warm-hot phase. So this is true, but we're more talking about the part where it's like we're about to be able to. We don't want to focus on the part where it's we haven't been able to study it yet. We want to say, yeah, we haven't, but we're about to. So I don't like B. Researchers don't yet have a complete understanding of the process of galaxy evolution, but have raised the possibility that galaxies interact with each other at times. We're not really talking about galaxies interacting with each other. We're talking about this gas that's filling and surrounding them, and we're talking about how we're about to find out some information with this mission. But they're not really talking about how we don't yet have a complete understanding of it. That's not the main idea. The Aspera mission is expected to produce the first direct observations of this gas in the warm-hot phase, which likely has an important role in the evolution of galaxies. I mean, that's great. We're talking about the optimistic side, which is exactly what the passage's main idea, I would think, is trying to get at. That we're about to produce the first direct observations, and it likely has an important role in how galaxies evolve, which is exactly what I like to see. And so that's why D is the correct answer there. If you have any questions about that, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll try to get back to you on it. If I can't, then hopefully someone else could. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe. It definitely helps me out, and supporting the channel just means so much to me. And I appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me recently. It has truly been so encouraging and motivating. But yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Peace.